Hello, everyone. My name is Shauna Makowiecki, and I sincerely appreciate the time you have all taken out of your day to be here to listen to my recommendation regarding Walmart's operations in China. Here is a quick overview of what I'll be discussing today. I'll start with a brief introduction of myself, and then a quick history of Walmart in the domestic market. I'll then briefly discuss Ali Farahman's article that was electronically published on the Harvard Business School Publishing's website. This will be the main source of information shared with you today. Then I'll lead straight into my recommendation in regards to Walmart's operations in China and support that recommendation by my evaluation of the general environment, environmental threats, and the VRIO framework. I'll end the presentation with suggestions on how to best implement that strategy and, of course, a final call to action. Just a little bit about myself before we get started. Again, my name is Shauna Makowiecki. I'm a senior at Sam Houston State University and an honor student in the undergraduate program at the College of Business Administration. Professionally, I'm an operations manager in the home services industry. As you all know, Walmart has been able to achieve sustainable competitive advantage in the United States. The reason for this is the cost advantage due to their economies of scale. Walmart's been able to sell more goods at a lower cost due to their strategic store locations and distribution and logistics strategies. Additionally, Walmart leveraged their purchasing power with suppliers to purchase goods at the lowest price possible. It would only be natural to assume that this strategy can be duplicated in foreign markets, but it has proven not to be that simple in China. Now that the door to the consumer market in China was open to all, could the retail giant eventually win over its competition with its successful American model? That's really the question that we're trying to answer today. After reading the article written by Mr. Farahman, I honestly don't think that this model can be duplicated. I don't think that there is a strategy out there that's going to allow us to be as successful and to earn the profit margins that we aim to earn. Walmart has not had the sources of cost advantage in China that it did in the United States. They don't have the option to open stores in smaller towns. And there's some other reasons that I'm going to go into here in just a moment. My recommendation is Walmart needs to implement a divestment strategy because the firm has a proven competitive disadvantage in China. The general business environment in China is very different than the environment in the United States. Demographics, the most obvious difference in the demographics is ethnicity. The ethnic background of Americans as a group is vastly different than the Chinese consumers. Additionally, the average income in China per person is much lower. Cultural trends, Chinese consumers have different behaviors than Americans. They tend to make impulsive purchases and brand loyalty is less important. Chinese consumers prefer to shop daily and purchase in smaller amounts as opposed to the bulk buying that Americans tend to do. The economic climate, nearly 20 years of economic growth in China created higher income, but it also broadened the gap in wealth between the rich and the poor. This caused a new problem for Walmart because not only do poor consumers spend less, but they spend money on different goods. This makes it nearly impossible for the firm to develop a uniformed national marketing strategy. You have your legal and political conditions. Economic reform was initiated in China in early 1980, and this transformed the retail market. Prior to the reform, China was under direct state control. The change allowed for increased competition and higher quality products, and this is actually what's allowed the United States to come into China. Specific international events, the publication of the official reply to utilizing foreign investment in commercial retail issued by the State Council in 1992 opened the door for foreign investment, allowed foreign investors to establish retail joint ventures in China. One of the biggest differences in the general environment between the United States and China would be technology. Walmart does not have the same IT network in China, which is arguably, the biggest obstacle that this firm faces in the market. An established web-based system was vital to Walmart's success in the United States. The lack of information technology in China has made communicating with the 15,000 local suppliers inefficient, further increasing our operational costs. Infrastructure deficiency has added to operational costs. The expressways are struggling to keep up with the demand of economic growth. Highways are also costly to use with high toll fees. Transportation is not well connected. Goods have to be held for longer periods of time, and this contributes to high waste costs. Local protectionism has caused many out-of-state trucks to be arbitrarily stopped at city borders and subjected to tolls that the domestic retailers are not forced to pay. When discussing environmental threats, what we're talking about here are any outside influences that seek to reduce the level of Walmart's performance. There's 5 listed here, but we're really going to highlight the 3 big ones that I believe are the biggest threat to the success of Walmart in the Chinese market. The first one here is existing competitors. Walmart is battling with both domestic and foreign competitors. When Walmart tried to enter the Chinese market in the early 1990s, they were turned down by officials because there was already too much competition. The retail industry is crowded by international retailers with large budgets and expertise, and domestic retailers with knowledge of local consumer preferences. Now that we're in the market, one of Walmart's biggest international rivals, Carrefour, openly bends Chinese regulations. They're willing to bypass the central government and get approval and local support that we're not able to achieve. Another major threat would be suppliers. They can threaten Walmart by increasing prices of goods or reducing the quality of those goods. Suppliers, in turn, increase our costs. Supply chains are not always able to get fresh products to our stores, and Chinese buyers want only the freshest and sometimes still alive ingredients. The demand for freshness with the lack of proper transportation network means higher costs and diminished economies of scale. Buyers have the ability to reduce our revenue. Thousands of Chinese may enter our stores, but they don't spend the money that we would expect to see from that amount of traffic. Shoplifting is also a major problem in China. In 1997, the retail industry lost an estimated $3 billion due to shoplifting, which is done not just by customers, but by employees. This can take up to 5% of sales compared to an international standard of only 0.3%. In order for a firm to obtain sustainable competitive advantage in an industry, it has to closely follow the VRIO framework. And Walmart has done that in the United States and the domestic market. The question of value, the sources of cost advantage has been able to create value for our customers. Also, it's rare being able to provide quality goods at a low price. You don't see that too much in the domestic market. And providing these goods in a customer-friendly environment is very costly to imitate for competitors. And ultimately, Walmart's success in the domestic market is a result of the unique combination of the company culture and their business strategies. By keeping costs low, they're able to sell products at a lower price, and then more consumers will buy them. We have not been able to apply this same framework in China because we do not enjoy the same cost advantages in China that we do in the domestic market. Ultimately, I don't believe Walmart will be successful in China. The domestic players do not have the same regulatory barriers as multinationals, and they have established relationships with suppliers. Other foreign nationals have openly bended Chinese regulations and have expanded more quickly than Walmart, since Walmart's not willing to compromise their integrity and does not have a strong national presence. Leaving China might be the only option. Walmart cannot provide everyday low prices with an acceptable profit margin and achieve sustainable competitive advantage in the Chinese market. Duplicating the domestic business model has been unsuccessful in other foreign markets, including Japan and Germany. Walmart struggled for nearly a decade in Germany before finally cutting its losses. Even a harvest strategy at this point wouldn't be in the best interest of Walmart because there isn't much value to harvest. Walmart has yet to achieve acceptable profits in China, and operational efforts would be better suited in the domestic market or researching other foreign markets with more opportunity. The final call to action is to extract Walmart from China and to implement the divestment strategy. Walmart should offer severance packages to the Chinese locals and offer them assistance in finding new employment. Any expats should be given relocation packages and new positions at other Walmarts, either in the United States or a different market that's doing better than China. Any real estate or goods and other capital should be sold to minimize any closing costs. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my recommendation today. It was an absolute pleasure presenting for all of you. If you have any questions or concerns, please contact me directly. Here is all of my personal information. It would be my pleasure to discuss this further with all of you. Thank you so much and take care.